And tonight on The Wrap, Donald Trump and Jeb Bush make their CPAC debuts. But who won the crown for crowd favorite? Speaker of the House John Boehner makes a last-minute push to keep the Department of Homeland Security fully operational for a few more weeks. We'll tell you how that went. And is the president trying to stop you from buying ammo? All that and more tonight on The Daily Wrap. Tonight, she is a viper in the courtroom. Fascinating writing. And an absolute pleasure in the studio. That's true. Attorney Heather Hansen.
Thank you.
Looking very good and democratic.
That's it.
He is a former Navy SEAL and a special agent for the FBI and now runs the security firm United States Continued Services. Jonathan Gilliam is back.
Good to be here, literally running.
Yes, really. It's not a bead of sweat on you. And she is a Democratic political consultant who works with the great Doug Schoen. I didn't know that. Jessica Tarloff joins us. Welcome. Let's get to the Daily Download. Well, the Senate today approving a bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security through September. Meanwhile, Congress voted on a separate clean bill designed to fund Homeland Security for the next 3 weeks. But they will now have to negotiate with the Senate. How's that going to go? In both instances, neither bill calls into question President Obama's immigration amnesty. To get the latest on what is going on, I'm joined now by a member of the House Ways and Means Committee, Congressman Mike Kelly from Pennsylvania's 3rd District. Welcome to the show, Congressman. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me on. I sure appreciate it.
So where exactly are we now in terms of DHS funding?
Well, you know what? I would just say this to you. Back in January 13th, we passed a piece of legislation, H.R. 240, that fully funded the Department of Homeland Security. And I thought at that point we were done with the work in the House. We sent it over to the Senate. And as you know, the rules in the Senate are so much different than the rules in the House. The minority actually has great power to block things. I'm disappointed from the standpoint that I thought we could get something through the Senate. They all flew home today, by the way, so I think we're staying tonight. We're going to figure out what we can do to make sure we protect the American people. But it's confusing for me. I come out of the private sector. I'm not a legislator by career. I'm a legislator because my dealership was taken away from me a couple of years ago, and I had to fight to get it back. And I thought at some point it's time for private citizens to go and fight for it, not just themselves, but everybody else. So where we are right now, and I will be very clear with you, I cannot tell you where we are going to be tonight. I can tell you where I knew we were, and that was H.R. 240, which fully funded Homeland Security. Now I understand what we want to do is, listen, if the Senate disagrees with us, I have no problem with that. Let's go to conference. Let's sit down and discuss with members from both sides and both parties, sit down and work something out that makes sense. I think the American people deserve no less than that opportunity. I'm just not understanding right now why we couldn't get through H.R. 240, why we can't get to a conference right now, and I'm going to find out more as the evening goes on, but we have to get to a conference to be able to make sure that we can fund Homeland Security. We will work it out one way or the other. We are not going to leave our citizens defenseless.
Very good. And do you want a provision in the bill to go after the president's amnesty plan?
Oh, yeah, well, of course. You know, this is what shocks me to a greater extent. I've been here now. I've been here 4 years. I've watched a president dismantle a former constitutional law professor who said, I think at least 20-some times, that he does not have the power to grant amnesty to people, and then turned around and went ahead and granted amnesty to people when people back home are saying, you have to stop him. So we said, we're trying to do just that. We're trying to use the rule of law, and I'm not sure I understand. I have great respect for both parties. I mean that sincerely. What I don't understand is how an elected legislator can go and defend unconstitutional activity and say, well, you got to understand the way it goes. I don't understand the way it goes. And I will tell you what, the people that I represent back home, the 705,647 members of Pennsylvania's 3rd District, the state of Pennsylvania and the country as a whole, are scratching their heads right now and say, I don't understand under our form of government why this was allowed to come forward. We have to take a stand now on our Constitution. But having said that, we also are going to fund Homeland Security so that our citizens are kept safe. H.R. 240 did exactly that, and that's the part that I looked at, but we already had a piece of legislation. By the way, the only legislative body up until this morning, late this morning, when the Senate sent something back over to us, and then as they were voting on it, they had their bags packed and were out the door. You know what? I'm an automobile dealer. The one thing I tell everybody that works with me to make sure our store can stay open is we don't leave the lot till the last customer's gone. And I just don't understand why here For some reason, the clock only matters when you need to get out of town. The clock doesn't matter when you're protecting the American people. That is, to me, an egregious oversight.
Well, you certainly sound passionate about it, Congressman. Your Irish
Well,
side
listen,
is definitely coming
we
out.
better be passionate about it. This is our country. This is our Constitution. This is our future. And anybody that thinks this is about political people battling back and forth, Republicans versus Democrats, no, this is about America's future and the form of government we have. And of 1.4 million men and women in uniform have fought and died to make sure that we have this. To us now to abandon a process and say, doesn't quite fit with what I really feel like doing today, that's bull. That's absolute bull. So as far as passion, yeah, my passion runs really hard on it. I don't understand why we can't get these things done, but I do understand this. We have the ability to go to conference with the Senate. We have the ability to pass legislation. We already did pass legislation. Again, H.R. 240, please, the listeners, go back and look it up, see what that piece of legislation is and why we passed it, and then try to understand why we are at the impasse we are today. And I would just suggest you look to the Senate. You don't have to go too much further than about 100 feet down the hall from where I work every day and try to figure out what in the hell is going on over there. But we have to, Joe. We have to defend this, and this is our time, and it's not an option to walk away from it.
Well, Congressman, you certainly have your work cut out for you, but I have a feeling that when it comes down to it, you'll be debating this very passionately as you are tonight, and I got to think that something will be done if everybody has the same passion you do as we're seeing right now. We thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks so much, and God bless you.
Okay, have a good weekend. So, Jessica, have Republicans made a major misstep here?
It's unpopular, but yeah, I think that they have. I mean, I think also, Republicans have been going on since November that they got this huge mandate to govern, right, and at the election, when really I believe that it was a repudiation of President Obama and didn't have a ton to do with the Democratic platform more generally. But anyway, putting that aside, they promised that they were going to govern. This is a big opportunity. It's your first shutdown, right? And they're just going for it, like steamrolling in. It's embarrassing for John Boehner that he couldn't get this together. We're talking about 3 weeks, which I think is a waste of time that we're going to have to reopen it when there are a lot of really important things that we're going to have to debate over the next 3 weeks. But I think it's just horrifying for them, quite frankly.
They were low on time.
It's an embarrassment for everybody. I mean, the fact that the representative is saying that the Senate went home when the people who are actually working, if this is defunded, although they'll have to go to work, they're not going to be able to pay their mortgages because they're not going to get paid. It's a travesty.
Kicking the can down the road. I'd love to get your thoughts on this, but unfortunately, we got bills to pay. So
got it.
Get to our advertisers. Coming up next, Governor Jeb Bush spoke today at CPAC down in Washington, Maryland, actually. Did he encounter smooth waters? This is the Daily Wrap, only on Newsmax TV, DirecTV, Dish, Verizon, Fios, and a host of other cable providers.
Just before retirement, I had that uh-oh moment. It is not a great feeling. I worked hard, I saved money, but then I realized I wasn't going to have enough.
If you're age 62 or older and facing a financial gap, your home's equity could provide greater financial independence. With recent changes to reverse mortgages, it's more important than ever to make a decision based on current facts rather than outdated information. If you think you know everything there is to know about reverse mortgages, the truth is you probably don't.
And I have to admit, I was skeptical at first based on what I thought I knew, but then I realized how misinformed I really was.
Many people are surprised to learn that today's reverse mortgages have been redesigned and can provide greater help to consumers. As a result, they can be an effective option to help fund the retirement you want. Call Reverse Mortgage Funding today for a free copy of Closing the Gap. It has the most current information about new products, including those designed to help you extend your retirement funds or to purchase a new home.
My reverse mortgage gave me the benefits of a home equity line of credit without the monthly loan payments, and they've made the process really easy.
Retirement and retirees have changed, and so have reverse mortgages. You owe it to yourself to see how today's reverse mortgages are meeting the needs of a new retirement generation. To find out how, call Reverse Mortgage Funding now and get the facts.
We based our decision on current information, not hearsay, which was really a smart move for us. It changed our entire retirement outlook.
Call toll-free 1-877-272-3738 for your free copy of Closing the Gap. There's no obligation, so call 1-877-272-3738 today. That's 1-877-272-3738. Loan terms and conditions apply. Visit reverseminded.com for details.
What can 52-year-old male complaining of chest pain.
Clear. Heart attacks can happen at any time. My name is Dr. Crandall, and as a cardiologist, I tell my patients that they need to be aware of the hidden symptoms of a heart attack. That is why I've created the Simple Heart Test to help you determine your own risk of heart disease.
Take your free online heart test today and discover how to get Dr. Crandall's bestseller, The Simple Heart Cure.
And welcome back to the Daily Wrap, everybody. I'm Joe Concha, joined by Heather Hansen, Jonathan Gilliam, and Jessica Tarloff. Thank you guys for coming here before happy hour. Usually that starts around an hour ago, and that's where we'll be after in about 45 minutes. Well, the Conservative Political Action Committee conference is currently underway outside of Washington, D.C., and we've got your highlights. Chris Christie, during an interview with Laura Ingraham, says he thinks he could do okay if he decided to run for election, even against a guy like Jeb Bush.
Now, when there's been 42 years since we sent a Republican to the U.S. Senate in New Jersey, everybody said there's no way Chris Christie could win in 2009. And then they said, well, he won, but it was because the other guy was bad, not he was good. And in 2013, we'll kick him out. And I got 61% of the vote, 51% of the Hispanic vote, 22% of the African-American vote, and 54% of vote from women. Now, I'm not, if I decide to run for president, I'm not worried about what polls say 21 months before we're going to elect the president of the United States.
And here, the Donald, Mr. Trump, and the crowd, also not very high on the former governor.
Likewise, Jeb Bush, he's in favor. He's in favor of Common Core. He's weak on immigration. Now think of it for a second. In favor of Common Core, he's weak on immigration. Do you remember his statement with they come over for love? That was his stance on immigration. I don't see him winning. I don't see there's any way. You people are going to have to make your own choice. Who knows?
Wow, well, we knew Donald wasn't a fan, but that was a lot of boos. But will the Donald run?
Okay, if I had to ask you on a scale of 1 to 100, where are you on that scale in terms of where you think you are in deciding to run?
1 to 100, I would say 75 and 80. I am really inclined. I want to do it so badly. You know, I have the theme. It's my theme. It's Make America Great Again. That's what I want to do. We can do that in this country if we had people that know what they're doing, if we had people that are competent.
Mr. Trump puts it between 75 and 80. That would be 77.5%. You heard it here first on Daily Wrap. There is zero chance he is running, but it's entertaining, right? Finally, Jeb Bush took time today at CPAC to discuss an issue that might keep him from being elected: immigration.
The plan also includes a path to legal status. I have not seen anybody, and I know there's disagreement here. Some of these people are angry about this, and look, I kind of feel your pain. I was in Miami this morning. It was 70 degrees, so the simple fact is, there is no plan to deport 11 million people. We should give them a path to legal status where they work, where they don't receive government benefits, where they don't break the law, where they learn English, and where they make a contribution to our society. That's what we need to be focused on.
A lot of reaction.
I love that crowd. They're like the one in Rocky IV, where they're all going against Rocky, and then he wins a couple of rounds, and we're all cheering for him. And make up your minds. Boo, cheer, good Lord. Anyway, panel, let's start with Governor Bush. Obviously, I saw you shaking your head. In agreement, it seemed like you were almost...
I've never felt so good about a Bush before in my life. Wow. I mean, there's more to come out of his mouth that I won't agree with that much, but I think he's really on point with immigration reform. And I know that the primaries and the general are very different places, and this is an issue that Hillary Clinton's facing as well. How does she, tailor herself right now to the left, and then, how does she head more towards the center once the general election comes around? But I think that Governor Bush is right on with immigration. I mean, the American people, they want a secure border, but they also want a pathway to citizenship, and no other Republican candidate is talking about that.
The crowd certainly liked that. And the fact that he used "I feel your pain" and stole a Bill Clinton
But
line.
then said the Miami weather thing, which I don't think added up too well. But
Yeah.
I would love Miami weather right now. So.
That would be nice. Heather.
I thought he did well. I thought he started off a little bit slow. I think that the format was good for him. He chose it to have the back and forth discussion. I thought that Sean Hannity handled it well and wasn't too tough on him. I think he's got a good campaign going. I think his communications director, Tim Miller, knows exactly what he's doing, and I'm really interested in watching how this campaign folds out.
John, this is the challenge I see for, and I agree with both of you. He seemed more presidential today. He was nervous in his first couple of speeches that we've seen over the last couple of weeks. But can Jeb Bush overcome his brand? And his brand is defined, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on where you stand, by his brother and by his father, a one-termer, and then a guy who left office with his approval ratings in the low 30s. Can you overcome the Bush name?
Well, I think what we see there, and I really try to help the layman see what's going on here that may not be as politically inclined as the people on this
That's why
panel.
we have you here.
But, you know, when I was in the FBI, I ran special events, and we worked, several years in a row, we worked Fashion Week. And the fashion industry is in a bubble. Those people live in a bubble. They don't know anything about what goes on outside of that world. And politics is very similar. You know, the GOP, whether or not Bush or, any of these other people can sway it, it's almost as if they can make the right sweater to wear and everybody feels it. His thing is, he's a down-to-earth talker. He's a pretty, level-headed guy. He shouldn't be trying to use comedy in a situation where people are getting ready to turn their backs on him. But, the rest of the world needs to realize, and really the GOP needs to realize this, and I think this is coming out now between the Senate and Congress, is that the people want a leader. They're tired of presidential. We don't elect kings, although we've started to elect kings. But this is the thing. We need to stop looking at who's presidential. We need to start looking at who has the answers. And that's the problem. I'm not even hearing it out of Jeb Bush. He says he wants to do this, he wants to do that. They always say that. We need a secure border, and we need to figure out where 11 million illegal people are that are in this country. Then we figure out, what do we do with these 11 million people? Do we give them status, or do we not give them status? But we got to figure out where they are. First of all, we don't even know.
I'm sure there's some people at home that are saying, why don't you throw your hat into the ring?
You know what? And it's funny because on Twitter I get this a lot. At least probably 50 people a day saying you should run for president because of the way I speak.
I would way prefer you to Donald Trump.
Well, I'm not an actor. I'm not an actor.
The hair is better.
Yes.
Right? Yours is.
But the reality is, a leader in this country is going to have to either gain a monetary value somewhere where he can run a campaign to compete, as Ross Perot did back in the day, or they're going to have to subscribe to one of the parties, and that's the problem. I don't subscribe to a party, and a real leader right now that has solutions is not really going to subscribe to a party line.
I wonder, can an independent step forward here? And
I don't think so. It's interesting. The foreign policy is going to be a big deal, and you see independence. That's a really important thing for independence. But when you talk about that, it's the Republicans who have really increased in the polls and have come up at, I think, 18 points since October as far as foreign policy is concerned, and that's with the independents. So I don't think an independent can win, but I think they're going to be an important part of the election.
Interesting. I say it once again. Keep your eye on Mr. John Kasich, the Ohio governor. I wish he were more prevalent here, but maybe it's a good idea to stay out of the spotlight and let these guys battle it out and then step in late. Anyway, coming up next, the president wants your ammo. This is the Daily Wrap, only on Newsmax TV.
Henry Repeating Arms is a family-owned business. My family has been in the gun business since 1911.
At Henry, we take great pride in sourcing American-made materials.
Like gun barrel quality steel from Ohio, extruded steel and brass castings from Pittsburgh, the finest American walnut from Missouri, and deliver an American-made rifle that you would be proud to own.
And that's the vow of Henry, they'll be made in America.
But it won't be made at all. And you gotta love something that's made in America.
This is the best rifle I've ever owned.
Call now for a free Henry catalog and decal, including a list of dealers in your area, so you can own your own piece of American history. Call or log on now.
Henry Have you or a loved one been prescribed the blood thinner Xarelto? Xarelto has been linked to serious injuries, including internal bleeding, gastrointestinal bleeding, bleeding of the brain, cerebral hemorrhage, and even death. If you or a loved one use the drug Xarelto and have experienced serious injuries, you may be entitled to a cash award. Call the number on your screen now for a free consultation.
Call 1-800-478-7009. That's 1-800-478-7009.
Do you take your eyes off the road when you get a phone call? Or when you take a turn, does your phone take a fall? Then you need the incredible Clever Grip by Bell & Howell, the new smartphone clip with a super strong grip. No more fumbling for your phone and looking away from the road. Clever Grip holds your phone at eye level without blocking your vision, and the 360-degree pivoting head rotates for easy viewing. Perfect for driving with GPS.
Take next left.
Streaming your music.
Hello?
Or hands-free calling.
I'm using my new Clever Grip.
Clever Grip fits any style air vent, and the spring-loaded clamp holds everything tight, from the smallest flip phones to the largest smartphone. Those other mounts obstruct your vision, are hard to reach, and eventually lose suction. They never hold. But Clever Grip mounts at the perfect height, just like your car's most important gauges. You get a clear view of the road and easy access to all your phone's functions. Even this heavy brick is no match for Clever Grip. It works with your favorite phone cases and those bulky battery packs. It's great for passengers watching videos. And Clever Grip goes from the car to the house. And now you have an instant stand in the palm of your hand. It's the ideal stand for people who travel. It's the portable clip with the amazing grip. Call and order your Clever Grip by Bell & Howell today for just $14.95. Available only through this special TV offer. But wait, if you call right now, we'll give you a second Clever Grip free. Just pay separate processing. Perfect for every driver in the family. We guarantee you'll love it or your money back. So don't delay. Get Clever Grip today.
To get your Clever Grip for only $14.95 and get a second one free, call 1-800-552-6148 or go to buyclevergrip.com. That's 1-800-552-6148. Order yours today.
And welcome back to the show. The Obama administration wants your ammo. The president has never hidden the fact that he's against the use of firearms. If you recall, during last year's State of the Union address, the president vowed to take on gun control, quote, with or without Congress.
Citizenship means standing up for the lives that gun violence steals from us each day. I've seen the courage of parents, students, pastors, police officers all over this country who say, we are not afraid. And I intend to keep trying, with or without Congress, to help stop more tragedies from visiting innocent Americans in our movie theaters and our shopping malls or schools like Sandy Hook.
Now, word is leaking out that Mr. Obama, via the ATF, is making a move to ban certain ammunitions that are used with AR-15 rifles. The president in the past tried to ban the rifle itself, but was unsuccessful. Now it's believed he wants to use executive order to ban the ammo in order to decrease demand for said rifle. Jonathan Gilliam, you've had a ton of experience with firearms. The extent of mine is super soakers and a co-ed paintball thing I went on once, which was phenomenal. But the point being, should .223 M855. This shows you how much experience I have with this green tip.
Sure.
Should that be banned? I mean, will that do anything in terms of buying the rifle? Is this just symbolic?
They're using several different excuses. One is the fact that there's a pistol now that uses .223, and it's a very lethal round when you go after law enforcement. But it is almost never used in any crime. I mean, .556 is the NATO round. The green tip means that it's steel penetrating round, tungsten steel penetrating round. It has a certain core in there that makes it very tough. It can go through steel.
Can it go through like police body armor?
Oh,
obviously,
it can go through
steel.
It can go through pure steel. So
wow.
At 80 yards. So, but it is
yards.
almost never used for that. It's in fact they found in Somalia when they were shooting people with this 5.56 round, it was literally going through and making a pinhole as they went through, and they weren't killing people. They were just blowing a small.
Oh,
hole.
right, because it wouldn't sit in an organ or
It
something.
didn't. It
right?
just went straight through.
Wow.
So, but the point is with this is that they're neglecting again the real problem here is that. The second a gun was invented, there will always be guns in the hands of bad people in the world. You could take away all the ammo. Look at Denmark. Take away all the ammo. Take away all the guns. And what happens? A bad guy goes in and shoots up a convention on free speech, right? So, you know, America was founded on the premise of middle class and giving the people the ability to defend themselves against tyranny. Mm-hmm. Now, does that sound like a conspiracy theory? It does, but when you look at the way that this government is changing, the executive actions to really, tamp down the rights and the ability of the middle class to rise up and, be the best that they can be, the conspiracy part of it actually starts to go down a little bit. And I think, again, there needs to be statistics shown. People need to start looking at these things in a realistic manner and realizing that more people are killed by shotguns, by a pistol, a 9mm pistol, than any other weapon.
Well, and this type of ammo was specifically excluded in 1986. This is all about the Gun Control Act, which says that you can't use certain types of ammunition. Mm-hmm. This type was specifically excluded. It doesn't fall in the definition.
Was this in the Brady bill?
No, it's separate.
Okay.
But it is something that they are now trying to expand the definition in order to make this illegal, and it's not going to happen. Already you see a Florida representative putting forward a bill to say that they're not going to be able to do this type of thing. It wouldn't pass judicial scrutiny, and it's just another example of trying to use regulation to overcome constitutional rights.
Isn't the ATF supposed to be neutral anyway? I mean, what are they doing getting involved?
They're an agency. They're supposed to be, concentrating on enforcing laws and doing investigations. And I think, the Secret Service has been the perfect example of how they should keep their mouths shut and stay out of anything that has to do with regulating laws, because the executives that are in all of these law enforcement federal agencies, I'm not talking about the agents on the ground. I would live and die with those people. I'm talking about the agents that are at the top, the SACs, the ASACs, Assistant Special Agents in Charge. They're as incompetent as you can get in law enforcement. And they need to keep their opinions out of it because they are 100% loyal to the people above them in office.
Jessica?
Well, I don't know a lot about guns either, but I do know a lot about the need for background checks in this country and mental health scans and things like that. And 90% of Americans since Sandy Hook have time and time again said, we want stricter gun control laws. And I think that this might be an instance of President Obama, in whatever backhanded way it is, to say again, hey, I haven't forgotten. This is important. I'm going to do something that's really going to piss you off, Wayne LaPierre, and the rest of you. And maybe if the other side would give a little on that and say, let's bring gun control legislation, a very watered down version even, to the floor again, he'll drop the stuff about your bullets.
The problem with gun control, the way they do it, is they keep pushing a little bit here, a little bit there. Nothing has been done about the mental health problem. That is the big problem.
Fine.
So
but
a lot of layers
This is not
to
the way
this.
it's supposed to work. It's not. This isn't the way it's supposed to work. You're supposed to.
But
put
you
forward
need to have outcomes at a certain point. Something needs to happen.
And we have to leave it there. This is the type of segment that needs a full show. It's so complex, so many layers. Potluck time next. This is the Daily Wrap, only on Newsmax TV.
Before I started using the Chirobac, my back pain was excruciating. I like to be active, and this has given me my activity back.
Before Chirobac, I was actually considering surgery. That's how bad it was. So I am amazed I can now garden again, I could do hiking again, and I can live again.
These are real people who are free from back pain thanks to Chirobac. The only doctor-recommended at-home treatment clinically proven to treat the source of your pain so you can enjoy an active life again without medication. The secret is Chirobac's proprietary technology, a fusion of oscillation therapy and continuous passive motion. The unique motion gently releases the pressure between the vertebrae, allowing your spine to open up and decompress. ChiroBac starts working from day one and is clinically proven to provide lasting relief for up to 3 weeks.
What makes the ChiroBac so unique and why I recommend it to all my patients is that it eliminates the pain that the person is experiencing and gives long-term benefits to prevent pain in the future. It gets to the cause of the pain.
In fact, ChiroBac was shown to reduce back pain more effectively than inversion therapy, massage, acupuncture, and even exercise.
I played professional football for 8 years. All those pains and injuries I had, I just had to deal with them. Now that I've found ChiroBac, I don't have to live with the pain anymore.
Call now and try ChiroBac risk-free for not 30 days, but 60 days with our triple guarantee. If ChiroBac does not relieve your back pain, return it and we'll refund the purchase price, refund the shipping charge, and even pay the return postage. Stop living in pain. Now you can enjoy clinically proven lasting relief with ChiroBac.
Visit trychiro.com now or call 1-800-963-9722 for your risk-free trial. 1-800-963-9722. Call now.
How do you shape your eyebrows?
I just pluck my own and occasionally I'll go to the salon.
Introducing Nad's Facial Wand Eyebrow Shaper. Sculpt absolutely perfect eyebrows absolutely anywhere in just minutes. No muss, no fuss, no heat, and complete control.
The facial wand gives me a lot of control when I'm applying it.
No, it didn't hurt at all.
That's pretty amazing.
It looks like she did it in a salon.
Oh my gosh.
For eye-catching eyebrows, get Nad's Facial Wand Eyebrow Shaper at any of these fine stores today.
You can join millions of Americans turning off the old media for Newsmax TV. We're in over 40 million homes on DirecTV Channel 349, Dish Channel 223, and Verizon Fios Channel 115. And we're available online at NewsmaxTV.com or on Roku and Google TV. Plus, you can watch us anywhere in the world. Just download our free Newsmax TV app from your iPhone or Android. Do it today and find out why millions are tuning in. Newsmax TV. For real news, better talk.
Welcome back to the Daily Wrap. It's potluck time, Friday edition. This is one of my favorite parts of the show where we go around the table and share our favorite stories of the day. Normally we go right to left, but we're going to go to Jonathan Gilliam first tonight, who's looking very GQ. You said you worked the whole fashion thing. Now I see.
Yeah.
Well, somebody stole some clothes from said fashion.
I'm working on, and I just have to say real quick, this is my potluck, but it is so nice to have, a liberal that's, in a nice dress and beautiful versus Darth Vader smoking his,
Mr. Unger, yes.
I thought you were just describing most liberal women.
I love Rick, but this is nice. This is a nice change. No, what I wanted to talk about a little bit is the fact that we all work in media now. I come from the military and law enforcement, and there's these so-called experts that are on TV a lot. But it's not just TV; it's also in politics. And we have to really start looking at, and the American people need to start looking at, especially now with politics the way it is, what is an expert? There are certain telltale signs as to who you should listen to and who you shouldn't listen to. But a lot of the times you actually have to do a little research yourself. And that really is the number one step for the American public. I really feel like even just Googling somebody that you're interested in or something that somebody says and looking at connect the dots. Did they go straight from high school to college, or almost college in the case of Scott Walker, and then to politics? If that's the case, and they have no life experiences, you really need to start looking at what their record is, because if they're appeasers, you need to be away from those people. I tend to look for people who have real experience, they have life experiences, and they're well thought out. And, because college can give you a liberal education, that's what it's supposed to do, where you actually teach yourself. But a lot of these people, when they get there with college, they go straight into politics, and basically they subscribe to the law of politics, which is pay this guy off, scratch his back, and they'll scratch your back.
And there's got to be a balance, right? So you need to have somebody who's got some life experience, but also has the foreign policy experience and the governing experience, especially when it comes to president. And I think that's what we're all trying to work out, is where do you find that balance?
I don't think you necessarily need the foreign policy experience, though. Just because George W. Bush was a governor. Did he have foreign policy experience? Barack Obama, obviously. Governors may not have foreign policy experience, but to Jonathan's point, you brought up this name a couple of nights ago, Her name's Carly.
Yes.
Right. Educate the audience.
Yeah, I'm a fan. She used to be the CEO of Hewlett Packard. She's a smart lady. She is ready to take on Hillary Clinton. She had a great talk at CPAC. I think that she's really more looking to be a vice president potential person. And I think that somebody would be smart to take her on because she can take on Hillary in a way that nobody else can. She has the background that you're talking about where she's run a company. Some question how she ran the company. She would take that on, I think. And she can certainly counter a lot better than Sarah Palin could.
Let me say this one thing before you give your opinion on this, and that is the president. People have forgotten what the executive branch is. He's the CEO of the government, right? So therefore, you have an entire agency called the State Department that is supposed to be constantly working foreign policy. Then you come in and you manage that. Well, but we don't have that. We have special interest in the State Department. It's the same thing with law enforcement. As soon as like the ATF special interest starts to get in there, you start to lose your ability to focus on and have their streamlined focus on what they're doing. The president should be setting that back in line.
And that is the dessert on your
There you go.
main course. Very good. Before we get to Heather's potluck, by the way, earlier this week we told you about the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Robert McDonald, apologizing for saying he served in the Special Forces. But according to a highly reliable source, he's not the only member of President Obama's administration who has been stretching the truth a bit.
A little controversy here. Secretary of Veterans Affairs Robert McDonald issued an apology this week for saying that he served in the military Special Forces when he in fact did not. Yeah, it's an embarrassing situation, an embarrassing admission, but he's not the only member of Obama's cabinet that made a public confession this week. I mean, first was Attorney General Eric Holder. He confessed that he's been dating Oprah for 30 years under the name Stedman.
Wow. Tremendous. Heather, with that segue,
Listen,
you're
Eric
up.
Holder is on my list because he comes forward and he says that he wants to lower the standard to bring a civil rights case because of the fact that George Zimmerman couldn't be prosecuted, and it doesn't look like the Michael Brown case is going to turn into anything. And first of all, as a lawyer, just that premise is completely unacceptable. But then when you hear that Al Sharpton was on Tom Joyner's radio show on Wednesday morning and he said the same thing, and then he was at the White House yesterday, it's scary and it's frustrating, and to hear that Al Sharpton may be influencing that type of policy is absolutely unacceptable. That's my potluck.
We're talking Holder, not Stedman, though, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, not Stedman.
Keep that in.
Yeah, but when you have, I mean, Sharpton actually said it. He said we should lower the threshold where if you are based purely on race, if someone is attacked and it's of a different race, then you can pursue a federal rights type of case. It's absolutely ludicrous, and it's typical of this administration and the way that they approach this type of thing. Just change the legislation if you don't like it.
In that case, Michael Brown should have been prosecuted, even though he's dead, because he punched a white cop.
Well, and that's the other side of it. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got hate crime both ways if you look at it under that definition.
You still have a dead Eric Garner. You still have a dead Michael Brown and Trayvon Martin, and those are untimely, unfair deaths. Right. I am not a Sharpton fan, and the news out this week about the bullying that may have been going on with Eric Garner's family was hugely upsetting, and he should.
Sorry about that.
I'm done.
The Stedman thing ate up all our time. We come back. It's more potluck, including mine. This is the Daily Wrap only on Newsmax TV.
You're here to buy a car. What would help is simply being able to recognize a fair price. That's never really been possible. But along comes a radically new way to buy a car called TrueCar. And now it is. TrueCar has pricing data on every make and model. So all you have to do is search for the car you want. There it is. Now you're an expert in less than a minute. This is how car buying was always meant to be. This is TrueCar.
Just before retirement, I had that uh-oh moment. It is not a great feeling. I worked hard, I saved money, but then I realized I wasn't going to have enough.
If you're age 62 or older and facing a financial gap, your home's equity could provide greater financial independence. With recent changes to reverse mortgages, it's more important than ever to make a decision based on current facts rather than outdated information. If you think you know everything there is to know about reverse mortgages, the truth is, you probably don't.
And I have to admit, I was skeptical at first based on what I thought I knew, but then I realized how misinformed I really was.
Many people are surprised to learn that today's reverse mortgages have been redesigned and can provide greater help to consumers. As a result, they can be an effective option to help fund the retirement you want. Call Reverse Mortgage Funding today for a free copy of Closing the Gap It has the most current information about new products, including those designed to help you extend your retirement funds or to purchase a new home.
My reverse mortgage gave me the benefits of a home equity line of credit without the monthly loan payments, and they've made the process really easy.
Retirement and retirees have changed, and so have reverse mortgages. You owe it to yourself to see how today's reverse mortgages are meeting the needs of a new retirement generation. To find out how, call Reverse Mortgage Funding now and get the facts.
We based our decision on current information, not hearsay, which was really a smart move for us. It changed our entire retirement outlook.
Call toll-free 1-877-272-3738 for your free copy of Closing the Gap. There's no obligation, so call 1-877-272-3738 today. That's 1-877-272-3738. Loan terms and conditions apply. Visit reverseminded.com for details.
We, the people of the United States,
in order to form a more perfect union,
establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility,
provide for the common defense,
promote the general welfare,
and secure the blessings of liberty
to ourselves and our posterity.
Do ordain and establish this Constitution
for the United States of America.
And welcome back to the Daily Wrap, everybody. I'm Joe Concha, and I'm joined by a great panel here once again, and color coordinated every time. I don't think even emails are traded.
I like that you went blue and I went reddish.
Yeah, see?
It's more of a magenta.
Yeah, but I was just, and my nails.
Well,
so
either
whatever.
way, it's phenomenal.
Do what I can.
Anyway, we're sharing our potlucks here, and Tarlov, you're up.
All right. So I wanted to talk about, because we mentioned also about governors and foreign policy. So Scott Walker said that he's equipped to handle ISIS because he battled the 100,000 union protesters during the recall, which seems misguided at best and really ridiculous at worst. Are you about to defend him? Because I liked your dress until now.
I was just going to point out, I mean, when he makes the comparison to Ronald Reagan and the air traffic controllers, it's an apt comparison. And Tip O'Neill, when he came back from Russia, specifically said that the Russians were impressed by the way that Reagan had handled that. So when you talk about handling people, I think that there is an argument to be made that no matter where they are, there's a certain way to handle people.
Absolutely, but to say I'm a good manager is a different thing to talk about. Like, we have an existential terrorism threat right now, and I don't think that Scott Walker should be, you know, people criticize President Obama for taking it loosely, right, and that he won't use the right words, and he calls it a deli and not a supermarket. He doesn't show up in France, but he goes to the Saudi Arabian king's funeral, things like that. Scott Walker shouldn't be parading around talking ISIS.
Could you go back, that whole deli supermarket thing? What
Yeah,
happened?
I mean, I was particularly upset. So in France, the shooting after the Charlie Hebdo
the
attack,
kosher market,
the
yeah.
kosher market, but it was a supermarket and not a deli. And the administration, Josh Earnest and President Obama, have both called it a deli, which I think actually reduces the importance of it, because a supermarket with a kosher butchery is somewhere that families go every day to do their shopping, and it increases the amount of anti-Semitism that was involved in that. A deli is like a stop-in, right? Like, I'm thirsty, I'm going to go get a drink at the deli, but this was a place that people went. It was foundational to their lives, and I thought it really belittled what happened to call it a deli. Personally, I'm Jewish, so maybe that's part of it,
Right.
but I don't think so. I think that's just important.
Jonathan, as a member of the military, do you have any problem with Scott Walker saying, I took on protesters, so therefore I could take on ISIS, or was it just
He took on protesters. I mean, you know, there is a problem with a broken government right now, and we don't just need a manager, right? We need somebody to come in there and clean house. We need somebody who's going to appoint an FBI director that's going to start looking at people like congressmen, like senators, and saying, what you're doing is illegal, and we're going to go after you. Instead of somebody who's particularly paying attention to state problems, where you have, you know, even if it was a white cop that violated somebody's civil rights that's black, that should be handled by the states first, and the federal government should overwatch that. Instead of taking 40 agents down to investigate that, majority of these things are investigated by 2 people, but I digress. But I think that he needs to get more leadership experience in fixing broken things before he comes in and starts saying he's really good at
Okay,
this
and
stuff.
before you jump in, you know where we are in this segment. You know who still
Oh,
has
yes,
to
I
go.
know. It's time for Joe's potluck.
Yes,
How
thank
dare
you.
I?
If you wanted to introduce that. Of course, because these are serious topics that you guys are bringing up. And of course, I go to a very serious level here as well, the moment you've all been waiting for. It's finally my turn. Well, just play it. That's right. Okay, I'm not the only one who's completely over winter. Police in Kentucky put out an arrest for Princess Elsa from the movie, that's who you just saw, in the movie Frozen, blaming her for the never-ending freezing temperatures. Now, we have the Facebook page? I think we do, right? Can we put that up? Yeah, there we go. All Points Bulletin. All right, police department has issued an arrest warrant for Queen Elsa of, I never really saw the movie, my daughter has, Arendelle. Suspect is a blonde female, last seen wearing a long blue dress, and is known to burst into song Let It Go that we just played for you. As you can see by the weather, she is very dangerous. Do not attempt to apprehend her alone. Talk about cleaning house. They know what they're doing. But here's my point, people. All right, particularly to all of you that live in the Northeast. It's February still. It gets cold here. I grew up here, I live here now. And I am telling you, it's not that big of a deal. You all whine, you complain. Oh, it's so cold. Like you're so shocked that in February it gets cold. But yet, here's what you do. You walk out of your homes and you probably go into a garage, or maybe you walk a block to your car and you get in your car and it has heat and you're wearing shoes and socks. Not like you're walking 2 ways uphill in the snow and barefoot. This isn't that Little House on the Prairie episodes, that depressing one. You ever see that one? It's Christmas Eve. The kid's got to walk home in a blizzard and then they get lost and the dad has to go and find him and he dies and then they got to celebrate Christmas without him. Depressing. I don't know how that show ever got any ratings. The point is that we're very pampered, and I know it's a little bit colder than usual. March is coming very soon. I think in about 48 hours.
Yeah.
Right? And then we got March Madness, and before you know it, St. Patrick's Day, and you're going to get that 70-degree day, and it'll all be forgotten. Please stop complaining about the weather in February. It happens to get cold at this time of year, particularly when you're New York and up. So pipe down. That's all. Anyway, that's all we have for Potluck tonight. But when we come back, it's yay or nay time. Plus, we play tribute to a television legend. This is the Daily Wrap.
Mesothelioma victims and their loved ones may be entitled to a cash award from the $18 billion in asbestos trust funds. And you may not have to file a lawsuit to qualify. If diagnosed with mesothelioma or lung cancer caused by exposure to asbestos, call the number on your screen now. Even if a loved one had mesothelioma or asbestos lung cancer and has passed, your family may still be entitled to a cash award. Mesothelioma is a rare cancer caused by exposure to asbestos. Many victims worked in the Navy or in shipyards, mills, carpentry, roofing, insulation, construction, or automotive industries. For over 30 years, our legal team has successfully helped thousands of victims and families. Time is limited. You may not have to file a lawsuit if you or a loved one has been diagnosed with mesothelioma or lung cancer caused by exposure to asbestos.
Call 1-855-887-8068. That's 1-855-887-8068.
Hi, I'm Matt McCoy. How long have you had your car insurance? I ask because I had mine for over 20 years before I switched and saved hundreds with the AARP auto insurance program from the Hartford.
I was with my previous insurance for 30 years, but they could not compete with the Hartford.
People 50 and over could save hundreds of dollars when they switch.
I had done a lot of comparison shopping. The rate was like half of what I was paying.
$404 is the average amount folks save when they switch to the AARP auto insurance program from the Hartford. You know, it makes me wonder why everyone 50 and over hasn't switched.
9 out of 10 AARP members who switch to the Hartford from companies like Allstate, State Farm, and Geico all get a lower rate with the Hartford. So call 1-800-684-1685 or go to gohartfordauto.com for your free quote. If you're not already an AARP member, the Hartford can help you join in minutes.
Let me tell you what else the Hartford does. They promise not to drop you, even if you're in an accident. It's called lifetime renewability, and it's included with your policy.
It's a great feeling to know that they're not going to drop you for that reason.
And if by chance you're ever injured in an accident, the Hartford has a benefit called Recover Care. This will help cover the cost of having someone do your grocery shopping, your house cleaning, lawn care, even walk your dog.
They were there when we got the insurance, and they were there when we needed it, and we really appreciate that.
Save $404 on average, get lifetime renewability, and Recover Care. Call the Hartford at 1-800-684-1685 now. That's 1-800-684-1685. Or go to GoHartfordAuto.com today. Get this free calculator just for requesting a quote.
And welcome back to the Daily Wrap. It's time for Yay or Nay, or since we have Jessica Tarloff here, who is Russian, I believe, Yay or Nyet. House of Cards is back. Yahoo! Season 3 of Netflix's first original series became available last night at midnight for binge watchers around the world. Do we have B-roll of it, it's called? This is where we show you little clips of the movie but don't actually give anything away. It is estimated that 2 to 3 million people watched House of Cards in its opening weekend last season, and this year likely many more, as it's already acquired double the number of social media followers since season 2 and its debut. Not to mention Kevin Spacey taking home a Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Drama not too long ago. So in the spirit of CPAC going on in Maryland right now, I asked this question to our panel. Would Kevin Spacey's Frank Underwood be a frontrunner if he announced his candidacy for the presidency? You could only answer this question if you watched the show.
I have watched the show. I
Yes.
say no, because the way that he turns to the camera and speaks to it is annoying, and the public would not put up with it.
Annoying? So you don't like the show?
He annoys
Are
me
you
when he
sick?
does that.
Really?
I know. I am in the minority.
I think it's unique cinema.
No, it's. I know you do.
Right?
I know it was your birthday. It was coming. I know you love it, but I don't think that the public would like him or vote for him.
Okay, very good, Jonathan.
I disagree. I would say yes, because he has a way of making the people that need to like him.
And he gets things done.
And he
kills people to do it,
This
but
is
he
the
gets
thing.
things done.
This is what's interesting about that show in real life, is that he gets things done, but none of the things that he does do anything to better the American people.
No, it's
Not
just
really.
it's all power.
Citizenry is the word I was looking for.
But most argue that President Obama doesn't do anything to better the
that's why
situation for the American
realistic,
people.
Maybe he should
This
trade
is not a
places to be on a
discussion,
TV
it's yay or
show.
nay.
Oh,
Yay or
yay.
nyet?
Totally yay.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know his immigration policy, but yeah, I'm pretty firmly behind Frank
Okay.
Underwood.
I disagree here because I do watch the show, and if you do, you'll see that Frank Underwood, Kevin Spacey, doesn't do anything in terms of campaigning or shaking hands. He just acquires power through other means, and I'll just leave it at that. Did you see all the crazy dress? I'm sorry, we'll start that again. Did you see this crazy dress? Lupita Nyong'o, hope I pronounced that right, wore last week's Oscars. It's a pretty dress, right? Probably dropped, I don't know, a couple $100 on it. No, seriously though, have you seen it? Like anywhere? Because someone stole the dress from her hotel room on Wednesday. The custom Calvin Klein gown is estimated to be worth $150,000 and it is covered in 6,000 pearls. It must have weighed a ton. I don't care how many pearls are on a dress. Let me ask you, Jessica, would you pay $150,000, which I don't know what that works out in rubles, but probably a couple billion, for a dress like that? Yay or nay?
Nay.
Yet, okay.
At my current salary, I think that wouldn't be smart.
Very good. Jonathan?
I would say no, but they need to start spending that kind of money on security if you're going to have something like that.
That's a very good point. Hire that
I
man.
don't think she probably paid for it. I think she probably borrowed it, and I would gladly borrow it if anyone wants to lend me a similar dress. I think it's gorgeous.
I say yay. Of course, honey. I'll get that dress for you for your birthday. $1,500 maybe.
hobby.
Anyway, I'd hate to end the show on such a sad note, but as we heard today, unfortunately, Leonard Nimoy has passed away. He's 83 years old and certainly made quite an impact. There you see him in his later years, but anybody who's a Trekkie, I'm not, and he can do that thing with his hands, which none of us can do. Well, Jonathan can do it actually. Look at that, that's actually very impressive. So let's take a look back now on the man we knew as Spock.
Space, the final frontier.
Mr. Spock, are you all right?
Yes, I believe no permanent damage was done.
What happened?
The occipital area of my head seems to have impacted with the arm of the chair.
No, Mr. Spock. I meant, what happened to us?
How close will we come to the nearest Klingon outpost if we continue on our present course?
1 parsec, sir. Close enough to smell them.
That is illogical, Ensign. Odors cannot travel through the vacuum of space.
Opportunity? Now listen, Spock, you may be a wonderful science officer, but believe me, you couldn't sell fake patents to your mother.
I fail to understand why I should care to induce my mother to purchase falsified patents.
Live long and prosper.
Leonard Nimoy passing away at age 83. And if you don't think this had a lot of impact on people, even the President of the United States did tweet out about it, and Heather Hansen has that in front of her.
He put out a statement, said, long before being nerdy was cool, there was Leonard Nimoy. Leonard was a lifelong lover of the arts and humanities, a supporter of the sciences, generous with his talent and his time, and of course, Leonard was Spock. Cool, logical, big-eared, and level-headed, our president. The center of Star Trek's optimistic, inclusive vision of humanity's future. I loved Spock. He goes on a little bit about how he got to meet Leonard in person, and he was going to miss him dearly.
Very good. Jonathan, I know you didn't watch Star Trek very much, but can you show the audience what you could do? Because I can't. Can we get Jonathan up on screen? There's Leonard. And
I just want to say this one thing. Mr. President, I've met Spock. You're no Spock.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
And on that note, we have to leave it here. Time to go to happy hour and discuss that one a little bit more. Thank you for watching Daily Wrap. Thank you, panel. Have a good weekend, everyone. Joe Concha saying bye-bye.